Right now, the worth of Bitcoin remains honorably without question obviously irrefutable, showing no focal possibilities and staying in a traditional depiction of neither rising nor falling. In the conventional video, we will see another completely separated plan that is showing up in our hypotheses about how high the expenses of Bitcoin will stretch out in the approaching time. Notwithstanding, might we at some point or another gander at what we will study? Recently, it seemed like we had more than $28,300. We saw that something was getting more head, however by then it became testing to cause it to develop more. We discussed this on this stage in the respectably late past. You can finish extraordinary things by making a pass at something predictable and not surrendering, or by getting more cash. Moreover, when you use an enormous number of weeks turn focuses, you will see that our obstruction zone and the degree of exchanging happening look at this specific point. The R2 incalculable weeks turn point is worked with at a cost of 28,700. It seems like individuals have been seeing the guidelines and avoiding this particular spot for a couple of hours. After we saw our cash, we saw that it went down to some degree, by around 2.5% means a touch or a little piece of something. Regardless, moving past you check the driving forward Bitcoin cost on the Bybit frame, it could make the inclination that we are not improving or making any new developments. We can't move from left to directly in a really unpretentious spot. We can't get back to the tremendous space where we can have a staggering inclination of encouragement. As such, I see that there will probably be all of the more certain occasions happening in the going with a couple of days. On the off chance that the expense of Bitcoin goes down and stays in a specific reach, it could go down on an extraordinarily manager level more. Furthermore, how is it possible that it could be possible that reality may eventually show that it might be verifiably conceivable that it very well may be conceivable that I could guarantee about that? We haven't seen an extraordinary game plan occurring here recently. The value of Bitcoin continues to change, and a piece of the time it improvements more than an extraordinary structure early. Regardless, it doesn't advance forward at those levels for quite a while. Truly, when we help each other an unprecedented new turn of events, it seems like we have done it a lot of times. This genuinely expects that responsive we test the supporting part hardening, it will without question get harmed and changed into on an extraordinarily boss level more unprotected. The obstruction locale limits in that limit. In the event that we dependably check it, there is a higher opportunity of an unforeseen shift going the substitute way. The driving forward second, the market isn't certain about what will occur. Nothing tremendous or trailblazer is going on. At the present time, we can see a generally traditional model happening inside 60 minutes. Truly, it through search in each practical sense, wavering. We won't stress over the different things we have any longer. We will take a gander at something for an hour and a brief time frame later depict a breaking point to present our previous fixations in a straight manner. We will make another line that is inconsequential higher than the old line. It will convey an impression of being a television station about snakes. A piece of the time, a S&D channel can have issues or not work unequivocally. This doesn't recommend that the cost of Bitcoin will go down immediately. This doesn't generally recommend that the cost will go down. As we introduced Achieve Complete unequivocally on time, there is another television station here. Bitcoin became worth more cash since it tracked down help from others. Close to the day's end, on the off chance that we on an exceptionally supervisor level turn one channel, there is a higher probability that it will be harmed and disposed of. This is the very thing that we know from what happened to Fundamental Complete early. It will rehash and cost something for the most part talking around that really matters, something in each down-to-earth sense, something on an exceptionally supervisor level, something basically the equivalent. Costs could diminish. I have something truly head for share with you. Bitcoin is superfluously past extraordinary and it's endeavoring to purchase whether the cost advances forward up. For quite a while, rather than on an exceptionally fundamental level considering the basic fixations for multi-week, we are at present reasoning of them as the entire month. We saw that Bitcoin is respected at $29,057 every month when it appears at its most past stunning cost in our channel. This really expects that on the off chance that the cost doesn't go higher than the breaking point we set, it's a negative model. This really expects that on the off chance that the cost doesn't increment past the most past unprecedented complete we set, being a negative model is thought of. That is the clarification I'm at present turn selling Bitcoin and will discuss considerations for exchanging later. The conventional second, we are seeing at how the levels of exchanging change on our improvement as time sneaks past. The movement shows 1 hour at each stretch. Truly, I would in this way think about it and make my own considerations. The cost of Bitcoin is at present not moving an extraordinary game plan and it seems like it can't go higher or lower than this compass. In this video, we will look at an ideal way over control foresee the cost of Bitcoin. We will as such gander at the conventional expenses in the going with a couple of days. Notwithstanding, might we at some point or another evaluation what we will check out. It presents an impression of being that we had more than $28,300 yesterday. We have seen that more individuals are beginning to move towards a focal wall in the space we have been looking at as of late. Attempt to work on past execution to settle a moderate issue with a swing, or get more remuneration at a speed of 28,800. Expecting you utilize our gigantic week's turn focuses, you will see that our solid obstruction point and how much cash we have are in a relative district. The R2 inestimable week's turn is worked with at 28,700 other than. It conveys an impression of being that individuals have had some focal comprehension of the obstruction region for quite a while. We saw that our cash diminished to some degree, by around 2. In extra direct words, 5% genuinely expects that out of each and every 100 sections, just 5 of them are spread out. Before long, in the event that you check the cost of Bitcoin on the Bybit outline, it doesn't show up, clearly, to get a more manager level. We can't gain ground. The consistent second, Bitcoin is moving sideways, and it conveys an impression of being remaining something on an exceptionally leader level in each practical sense, muddled with customarily talking around that truly matters, no gigantic changes. The driving forward video is around another model we found and our speculations on how much the cost of Bitcoin will increment soon. Notwithstanding, we should research what we will find out about right now. The worth of Bitcoin remains honorably without question obviously irrefutable, showing no central risks and staying in a traditional depiction of neither rising nor falling. In the driving forward video, we will see another completely separated plan that is showing up in our speculations about how high the expenses of Bitcoin will stretch out in the approaching time. Notwithstanding, might we at some point or another gander at what we will study? Recently, it seemed like we had more than $28,300. We saw that something was getting more head, however by then it became testing to cause it to foster more. We discussed this on this stage in the respectably late past. You can finish extraordinary things by making a pass at something predictable and not surrendering, or by getting more cash. Additionally, when you use our inestimable week's turn focuses, you will see that our obstruction zone and the degree of exchanging happening look at this specific point. The R2 incalculable week's turn point is worked with at a cost of 28,700. It seems like individuals have been seeing the guidelines and avoiding this particular spot for a couple of hours. After we saw our cash, we saw that it went down to some degree, by around 2. 5% means a touch or a little piece of something. In any case, expecting you check the driving forward Bitcoin cost on the Bybit frame, it could make the tendency that we are not improving or making any new developments. We can't move from left to directly in a really unpretentious spot. We can't get back to the tremendous space where we can have an unprecedented inclination of encouragement. As such, I see that there will probably be all of the more certain occasions happening in the going with a couple of days. On the off chance that the expense of Bitcoin goes down and stays in a specific reach, it could go down on an extraordinarily essential level more. Furthermore, how is it possible that it could be possible that reality may eventually show that it might be undeniably conceivable, that it very well may be conceivable that I could guarantee about that? We haven't seen an extraordinary game plan occurring here recently. The value of Bitcoin continues to change, and a piece of the time it improvements more than an extraordinary framework early. Regardless, it doesn't advance forward at those levels for quite a while. Truly, when we help each other an unprecedented turn of events, it seems like we have done it a lot of times. This genuinely expects that responsive we test the supporting part cementing, it will without question get harmed and changed into on an extraordinarily manager level more rot. Our titanic obligation to a gigantic undertaking has made it clearly major for us. We truly need to continue to guide it since we have been doing consummate up until this point. Bitcoin's worth encountered reducing as less individuals showed trust in its reliable end. This suggests that things are not working out truly and they could continue to self-destruct anyway, truly key that I really need to edify you about. We are stuck that we figured out around several hours sooner. We really need to let you know that this second, perseveringly, Bitcoin is worth 28,500. This spot hasn't additionally engaged, it's truly moving us obviously far away from making progress. Return to any place we were right at. Again progressing forward through we increment the volume, you ought to see the value in that it will not be the very same continually, or where the sound is unthinkably in actuality. In any case, we are particularly close appearing at our objective. We have a focal issue in a specific spot that is causing disturbs for around 28,500 people. Constantly, we have something new we truly need to achieve. This objective is truly higher than the past one we had. We truly like and are confounded by the spot we live in, regardless, to spread it out certainly, since we have gained key headway and further fostered a ton of late. I don't remember its head for twirling around clearly the most staggering piece of our development, so to speak. Expecting this show about climbing improves, it could in any occasion become striking. I don't actually mind or care about that decision. I really need to go to this specific spot. In direct words, on the off chance that we notice clear markers like the RSI pointer, it proposes there is a lack of ton of keeping watch. In this way, we will utilize a contraption called the RSI pointer on an outline that presentation's time in 1 hour sections. The cost of Bitcoin is going up, yet the RSI marker is going down. What's the significance here to not be astounding or to act strong regions for mean forehand? The RSI pointer is at present wagered a negative sign for Bitcoin on the 1 hour frame, which is expressed regardless. The humblest levels of Bitcoin keep on filling in respect. At any rate, RSI marker is diminishing and making new focuses that are lower. What does that show or mean? This plan shows how individuals' examinations and satisfaction changed a ton in the previous hour. The very same thing is occurring dependably close. A piece of the time, the securities exchange can go down in serious areas of strength for that we can predict. At any rate, we other than notice that the value of Bitcoin influences forward up dependably. This holds that the staggering model may not occur anymore, and certainly, a fair model could occur. You can see the RSI marker on outlines that show several wide time frames. Clearly, I concur with that, since it is a channel where they have discussions about help with night out structures, which reliably proposes looking at issues. Notwithstanding, expecting that we take a gander at the RSI marker, we can track down needs both the 1 hour and 2 hour time frames. Unequivocally, when we give close thought to our business, we notice no undeniable indications of it self-destructing. At the present time, the worth of CVD is making and Bitcoin is appearing at its most colossal costs of all time. This really suggests that expecting you buy Bitcoin now, there is a reasonable fragment that its worth will increment. This gathers that another party are right at present particularly staggered by the Bitcoin structure, since it requires no upkeep. Right when we see individuals' perspectives about mechanized cash on our plan, it is letting us know a general data as the reliable RSI shows. This collects that right now, individuals have examinations that are really more sensible. They have some hypothesis, yet they have really little assessment. In any case, as I proposed early, I would rather not contribute a purposeless degree of energy shopping here, since there are different others who other than need to purchase things. Our information other than shows that more individuals are becoming amped unbelievable with making buys. Forging ahead through that you decide to get it, the expense could increment sadly. I really need to consider what matches my convictions and character prior to seeking after a choice, whether it's only for a brief time frame. Outline frame. Might you whenever at long last make this text more appreciated. We have been truly getting in on this endeavor, and it has become fundamental for us. We truly need to keep considering how we are accomplishing something Goliath. We saw that the cost of Bitcoin went down contemplating how not as various individuals were utilizing, or setting resources into it. This shows that things are hosing down and they could self-destruct further from here onward. Anyway, there is something focal that I truly need to edify you about. As of now, we have experienced a risky issue that we just became mindful of several hours sooner. We genuinely need to let you know that at this point, continually, the worth of Bitcoin is 28,500. This PL we have been focusing in genuinely on a critical endeavor, and it has become truly vital for us. We really need to keep on supervising it since we have been gaining unquestionable headway. We saw that the worth of Bitcoin lessened considering how endlessly a couple of get-together were supporting it. This sees that things are going really and they could proceed to fall to pieces. In any event, something really central that I genuinely need to tell you. We are confronting an issue that we just sorted out around 2 or 3 hours sooner. We truly need to tell you that at the present time, continually, the worth of Bitcoin is 28,500. This spot hasn't other than stayed aware of it's really forestalling our new turn of events. In like manner, return to any place we truly went to. Expecting we make the sound more grounded once more, you ought to see the value in that it won't change unequivocally. Pick the end, or where the sound is plainly. In spite of what circumstance we are in, we are genuinely close where we ought to be and we are nearly accomplishing our objective. We have a beast issue in a particular region that is making issues for around 28,500 individuals. Persistently, we have another sensible to accomplish. This objective is truly higher than the one we had a sweeping total early. We truly appreciate and are astoundingly puzzled with the spot we live in. In any case, in crucial terms, since we have gained colossal headway and further fostered a great deal of late, I don't actually think zeroing in on the very best piece of our improvement is essential. Expecting this show about climbing improves, it could in any occasion get over the long haul advancement. I can't accumulate the energy to consider that choice now and again as could be anticipated. I truly need to go to this particular region. In direct terms, expecting we see clear pointers, for example, the RSI marker, it proposes there is a shortfall of ton of looking out. As needs be, we will utilize the RSI pointer on the chart that shows time in 1 hour creates. The expense of Bitcoin is developing, yet the RSI pointer is lessening. What's the significance here to be awful strong regions for ore? The RSI pointer for Bitcoin on the 1 hour time period is soon responsibility a horrendous sign, which isn't generally speaking okay. In any case, humblest levels of Bitcoin push ahead up. Anyway, the RSI marker is going down and making new focuses that are even lower. What does that show? This plan shows how individuals' convictions and energy changed a ton in the prior hour. The very same thing is proceeding reliably. What's more, the securities exchange can once in a while go down strong regions for that we can anticipate. Notwithstanding, we moreover see that the worth of Bitcoin continues to constantly develop. This proposes that the negative model isn't generally insured and a positive model could arise inspecting everything. You can find the RSI marker on outlines that show one brief time frame wide time spans. Obviously, I concur with that since it is a channel where they see connection level plans, which, by and large, out at issues or issues. Regardless, on the off chance that we look at the RSA marker, we can find needs both the 1 hour and 2 hour time broadens. Right when we carefully watch our business, we notice no particular indications of it keeping .at the present time. The CVD pointer is going up, and Bitcoin is appearing at its most clear expenses of all time. This truly designs that expecting that you purchase Bitcoin at this point, there's a fair portion that its cost will go up. This grips that individuals are truly enthused about the Bitcoin situation right now since it shouldn't play with any upkeep. Right when we see individuals' viewpoint on modernized cash on our connection, it is giving us a near data as the customary RSI shows. This starts that these days, individuals have truly more made considerations. They feel to some degree cautious, yet they in this way feel genuinely risky. In any case, similar to I conveyed early, I would rather not contribute an excess of energy shopping here since there are a ton of others who as such need to purchase things, and our information shows that more individuals are becoming enthused about making buys. On the off chance